Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. Hopping into picks and bans for game number 2 of this best of 3 between Unicorns of Love and Gamers 2. I'm AlphaSex, being joined here by Spuddington. This is continuing coverage of the Solomid Invitationals 2014.
Yes, it is. So, Unicorns of Love. Not the best first game for them. Fell a long way behind early. Well, okay, didn't this is so I say they fell a long way behind early. They were actually roughly on par in terms of gold, but the scaling of their champions and the strategy they were going with required them to get a long way ahead early, and they didn't. So effectively falling a long way behind where they would want to be at that stage in order to pull out a win, and obviously didn't. So what are they going to go for this time? Are they going to go for a repeat strategy where they look to try and bully the lane and then snowball? Or are they going to go more conventional? Are they going to set up something, maybe even not necessarily more conventional, but a different alternate strategy? For instance, something like a fast pushing composition, something like that.
We'll see what the adaptations are going to be. Yasuo, Twitch, and Kassadin going to be the bans here from the side of Unicorns of Love. Gamers 2 going to ban out Jax, Irelia, and Ziggs. So taking some control out of the mid lane there, as well as taking the Irelia off the board. Of course, it's JWoww who's taking the Irelia away this time. So very much respecting the amount of damage that champion's capable of putting out. And I mean, Irelia we've seen has been extremely popular for EU for some time now. And again, it's just more respect from the red side having to ban that champion away.
It is interesting, isn't it, really? Because Irelia has always been more popular in Europe than any other region. Even like way back in season 2, she was much more popular in Europe than she was anywhere else. And back then, it was also a very strong meta for the Jax pick. And generally, he came out on top in the one-on-one, but Europe was still picking her. So it's something odd. I wonder if it's like people like European players just love the mobility of her. The Blade Surge reset can be such fun to work with properly, or whether there's something else that's going on. Just a kind of idle curiosity.
It's kind of a proximity thing, right? The closer you are to Wicked, the more you love Irelia, and the closer you are to Morello, the more you hate Irelia. So that's why on the NA side, at least, Irelia is very rarely seen, and in the EU, everybody goes along with whatever the Danes like. It makes sense to me. Thresh is the first pick. Braum is still available. If we're going to see that again from Dude, we'll see if he likes Braum into Thresh as much as he likes Braum into Morgana. But they do pick up the Lucian and the Lulu here for the side of Gamers 2 with their first round of picks. Unicorns of Love about to run out of time on their second round of picks. So far, they're showing us Jinx and Nocturne. We'll see if those end up getting locked in. And indeed, they will. So Pharaoh Flare, obviously, in this patch, was nerfed extremely hard.
Again.
Again, do you think that there's a likelihood that we'll still see the Pharaoh Flare Blade of the Ruin King build out of this Nocturne, or is he more likely to go with Spirit of the Elder Lizard?
It's possible we will still see it, just because Nocturne in particular synergizes so well with the Feral Flare. He is probably the best, if not maybe the second best to Master Yi in terms of just synergizing so naturally well with that item. But I could still see an argument for Spirit of the Elder Lizard, especially in competitive, especially if he isn't allowed much time to farm in the early game. Because you can be flexible about this. You start with the machete. If your first jungle run ends up with you sat top lane, pushing the towers down or something like that, where you don't get many jungle camps, you may just say, okay, well, it's going to be half an hour before I finish a Feral Flare. I'll go for the Spirit of the Elder Lizard. If not, you can look to build the Madrids out there. So maybe we'll see it, maybe we won't. It's a 50-50.
All right, so Jinx Nocturne. Over to the side of Gamers 2, they pick up Lee Sin once again from Warden's Jungle, so he's going to have the same jungler 2 games in a row. Yuki is going to have the Lucian again. This time it's going to be paired up with a Leona. So it's going to be Leona into the Thresh. And Heil Sank's like, oh, I'm going to play Braum. And we're going to use a solo lane Thresh. Duh.
It makes perfect sense. Which I mean it doesn't, and I'm going to go crazy. It could be a solo lane Braum. I don't know how he scales.
Maybe. Maybe. I mean, he's a new champion. You never know. But yeah, all champions with mustaches belong in the bottom lane. If you have a mustache, you belong in the bottom lane. That's just how it works. So that's why. I mean, Draven and Braum. No, I'm saying if you have a mustache, not all rectangles are squares. Okay.
Oh, okay. Oh, okay. Okay. I can say. I see what you mean. Pointing out logical fallacies. There you go. Oh well. So
3 seconds left here. Final pick. Let's see where they end up going. Okay, they're going to swap it over to the Rise for Shashi in the top lane. She's gonna have Rise to deal with an undetermined lane opponent. Yeah, they've got Lulu for one of their solo lanes. It could be for JWoww in the top lane, but it could just as easily be for Ocelot in the mid lane. It's coming down to the last pick here for the side of Gamers 2 before we'll know exactly what their lane assignments will be.
I think a Rise pick here is pretty cool, actually. I like this. Typically, Rise was doing not so brilliantly in the 4 versus 0 meta because it took him a long, long time to ramp up. He could get dived easily. He didn't push very hard with his team if he was in the 4 versus 0 himself. So obviously he's going to be served by that meta mostly disappearing now. Obviously you can still 2v1 against him, which does give him some trouble, and then you can look to 3 versus 1 dive him early on. But they've got a good jungler for holding towers with him if they do choose to go for that strategy. So I think here, especially considering there's no really good one-on-one matchups here to go against Rise, this is a pretty solid pickup here. I like that.
And we'll see what the final pickup is going to be. They're showing us the Mundo, and they're going to lock that in. So it's going to be Mundo going up against Rise. Big damage advantage for Rise in the early game, but Mundo eventually gets to a point where he has enough sustain and takiness that he can just stand through the entirety of Rise's mana pool.
Yeah, you can. I mean, you can't, because eventually Rise gets to a point where his mana pool is effectively infinite as well.
Sure.
But yeah, he gets to a point where he can ignore Rise long enough to clear the wave. And the other thing that he can do is that once the towers fall, the outer towers, he can chase for such a long time and so effectively with the CC reduction and the movement speed. Mundo can set up kills on Rise, even though Rise would win if they fought forever in the one-on-one fight. So yeah, that's not a bad pickup either there. Even though Rise will get farm if he's left in a one-on-one against that, they're both terrors late game.
All right, so all the lock-ins are done. So it's Jinx Thresh up against Lucian Leona. Typically speaking, Jinx and Leona can be a little bit scary just because immobile AD carry, a mobile support with as much burst and CC as Leona has can be pretty terrifying, especially with a jungler like Lee Sin. Thresh helps to mitigate that a bit with the Dark Passage and the amount of CC that he brings down from the rest of his skills. But and actually, Hyel saying at the last second swapped over to an Ignite, so he's gonna be running Ignite for this lane as opposed to an Exhaust, which is gonna help out quite a bit. They'll have a second Ignite to help deal with Mundo's ridiculous sustain in the late game, and it also gives them a little bit more kill pressure in the bottom lane if they're able to get Nocturne in for a good gank onto Yuki. But we'll have to see how this plays out. We're nearing the end of the spectator delay here, guys. We're going to take a bit of a commercial break. When we come back, it's going to be game number 2 in this best of 3 between Unicorns of Love and Gamers 2. Gamers 2 lead 1-0. Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to our second best of three of the day here at the Solomid Invitationals 2014, brought to you in part by Logitech and ProBuilds.net. I'm Malphus being joined by Spuddington. We're hopping into game number 2 of this best of 3 between Unicorns of Love and Gamers 2. Gamers 2 lead the series 1-0, and Unicorns of Love, gotta say, they gotta be on their heels after game number 1. Let's see what they've got as they come out swinging for game number 2.
Yeah, what we're seeing this game from them is pretty much the reverse of the previous game strategy. They've still got Syndra in the mid lane, but she's good at every single stage of the game as long as you don't get ganked into oblivion. But this time, their lanes, their jungle focus, everything, they depend on farming up and going for the late game because they are very, very strong then. But if the game snowballs against them early, they could really, really suffer for it this time.
JWoww just threw a cleaver in a completely random direction. He just wanted to lose a little bit of HP and regen it back up, I think. Or he just wanted to have a little fun. Spam out some cleavers, always a good time. But yeah, the late game scaling is going to be pretty huge here for this team. And you almost have to wonder if that's going to end up being a problem because they picked a whole lot of late game scaling champions. And there's a lot of early aggression, early power coming out here from the side of Gamers too. They've got the Lisa in jungle one more time. They've got Lucian and Leona, who are really powerful down in the bottom lane. Lulu, not as much of a lane bully anymore. That's probably the most neutral lane that they have. And the top lane feels like it's going to be kind of a wash and just a lot of people farming up.
Yeah, that's true. The thing is, though, Gamers 2 haven't gone as all in on the lane bully strategy as obviously Unicorns of Love did last game. They've got essentially a team comp which will scale pretty well into the mid game at the least. And so it's going to be the really, really late game before they actually start having to worry about being outscaled. So they're going to do pretty well, I feel, if they can just avoid that situation occurring. And it won't take that big of a goal difference for them to still be relevant, even if it goes super late. But obviously, give both teams full item builds and you would start to see Gamers 2 really suffering.
All right, so you see down in the bottom lane, the control, the early push does go over to the side of Unicorns of Love. He uses a relic shield with the range from Thresh to push out a little bit and take control of the lane. But he took a fair amount of right clicks, which normally with Leona level 1 is kind of like the bane of your existence, but didn't really take any damage from it. His runes and masteries are set up specifically for this early game. So you see he goes forward here, gets caught up by the Flay. There's the Flame Chompers as well. He's so low, drops the exhaust on a Vardags. He's able to get himself back out. The flash already used by Yuki, and the exhaust now down for Duty for just the ignite from Heilsang.
Oh, well, Morden is here, but Flash and a heal gets him out. I do have to question Dude's decision to go in on that one there. Morden was a bit too far off to catch up and obviously help them out in that trade, and they were essentially forcing a level 1 versus level 2 versus a large amount of minions as well. So not the best trading situations, but didn't actually end up costing them too much thanks to that gank. And now the power of evil may be about to meet the power of fists.
Here we see Power of Evil comes back in. Morden going to get the slowdown. He's going to use the flash. Is able to get himself away from the Sonic Wave, so no death coming out here for the Syndra in the mid lane, but the flash burn very early on. Dude goes back in with the Zenith Blade, gets flayed back out, is just barely able to beat the arm time on the Flame Choppers and gets himself away from that quick trade.
So we're seeing some pretty good pressure in this bot lane. Yuki on the early game champion. Obviously, Leona isn't going to be super strong until she gets level 3. But there's such a big health gap now, it's going to be difficult for Gamers 2's duo lane to all in. And that's actually why you can see him looking to recall straight off right now, or at least threaten it, because he gets the option, basically, to choose. Either Vardags pushes out really fast, and he is forcing the minions in so he can't freeze him out of XP range, and you can try and sustain up. Oh, that hook.
Oh, that's a lot of damage coming down. The Flame Chompers gets caught out as well. Will he be able to finish the kill up? No, Vardags has to back himself away from this one. Summoner Heal gets used by Yuki to keep himself alive, and just a beautiful hook under the tower by Heilsang.
So, yeah, now he's so far behind on health, he's probably going to have to recall, regardless of what Vardags does. But as it was before, threatening to recall would force him to essentially push in the wave and allow Yuki back in there. But them hooks, and Heilsang, I did mention before, is a very good Thresh player.
And this is, Vardags is playing the harder scaling late game champion. Dude, thinking about canceling some recalls. No, he's just going to stick around, farm up under the tower, and make sure at least some of this gold doesn't go to waste. But they've got the Jinx, who's going to be scaling a bit harder, and she actually has the CS lead over the Lucian, who you expect to have the control of the early game, of the early lane. So once again, Unicorns of Love doing well in their laning phase. Let's see if they can actually transition it into more mid-game power, more objectives for their team as they move into the mid-game.
Okay, so Lee Sin is heading down here. He may look to gank this through the lane. The lane is pushing out, so he should be able to get into the lane brush, but actually looks like he's just going to back off. Question is right now for me as well, Nocturne. His plan is presumably to go for the farm up and feral flare plan here. He has got for the Madrids. Slower farming though. They did nerf the Madrids component, so it's going to be a long time before Nocturne gets to be really scary. He was probably going to spend a lot of time farming until level 6 anyway, which is one of the reasons Feral Flare is so good on him, synergizes with him so naturally, but not a lot of presence. That being said, Morden also not a lot of presence so far.
Yeah, Morden he's been working, he's been trying to make it happen. Master of Sheepy actually going to get caught out here. He's going to be okay. He just backs himself away. They will be able to clear out the pink ward with Power of Evil coming in to help out a bit as well. Morden likes the look of this one. He's going to take so much burst damage. Wild Growth comes out from Ocelot, going to be able to keep Morden alive. Master Sheepy caught up by the Glitter Lance. He's already used his flash. Can he finish his kill off? Needs one more auto attack. He loses vision in the brush. Throws down the trigger ward. There's the auto attack coming back out. First blood goes to Ocelot. They continue the chase. Power of Evil taken down to almost nothing. He's going to go down as well. Morden takes it down, and just like that, Gamers 2 leap out to an early lead.
Such unfortunate timing. They didn't consider the XP difference there. They knew they had pushed out. They knew they had the advantage, essentially, because Syndra would be able to roam faster. What they did not account for was the fact that because Ocelot spent a little bit more time farming, he would hit level 6, and Syndra still hadn't. So they couldn't burst down Lee Sin. As a result, they ended up coming out much, much worse in that exchange. That's going to put them a little bit further behind.
Hard trades down to the bottom lane. Hyosang loses most of his health. Duty gets chunked down a bit as well, but he's Leona. He's going to have insane amounts of sustain. Although he is down just the Relic Shield to the Targon's Brace for Hyosang, so a bit of extra HP per 5 coming in for the Thresh. And they're going to be pretty content with the way this lane is going. Still a 10 CS lead here for the Jinx as she gets jumped on. I completely lost my ability to speak as the Jinx lost her ability to move. And just like that, Duty's doing what he can to open up space for Yuki to farm and get caught up. He just hasn't been too successful as of yet.
Yeah, and she's sustaining up again here, so it's not going to cause him too much problem, but once they've hit level 6, that bot lane from Gamers 2 becomes a lot more scary.
Vardax does get the Flay coming out to try to protect him. Dark Passage going to come out as well. Flash forward. Piercing Light not going to be enough as the Summoner heal comes down just in time. Big Death Sentence comes back down to lock up the chase here from Gamers 2. But you have to say, I mean, that's the Summoner heal down now for Vardax. He does still have his Flash. But Gamers 2, so much pressure. Flash. Zenith Blade comes back out, and Vardax is able to flash himself away from it as well. So the support trades her Flash for the AD carries. And this is going pretty well for Gamers 2. All of a sudden.
Rome coming down there as well.
Up in the top lane, JWoww trying to chase down into Chachi. Burns his ultimate to get a little bit of sustain back up. And, 2 men come in for Gamers 2 to try to force the action down to the bottom lane. Will not be able to successfully do so. So Unicorns of Love just back up and keep themselves safe.
Are Evil going to be checking for this pink ward that he expected to see last time? But...
They want to kill this. They want to kill this Mundo. They want to kill him really badly. But unfortunately, Power of Evil is going to walk over a ward on his way up to the top lane. And that's going to give the game away. And JWoww is just going to back up. If he had been caught out by Syndra, if he got stunned and Nocturne came in with the Paranoia, that would have been a very, very dead purple businessman.
Yeah, he would have been, he would have really started himself a very poor taste though. Pink shirt. They like it anyway. Power of Evil forced to flash away, but he'll live for now. And Ocelot is actually starting to build up a decent amount of presence in this lane. He's pushing out a lot and getting a lot of opportunities to roam, yet staying equal in farm.
So up in the top lane, Chachi. He's been getting his farm. It's been going pretty well for the Rise, but again, there's not a whole lot Mundo can do to shut down pretty much anybody's farm unless he gets massively ahead by some strange reason. Dude, he can take a lot of damage. They throw down the Ignite, the box, the Super Mega Death Rocket, but it's not enough. The armor coming out from the Eclipse is enough to keep him alive on that one. Hyosang recognizing the potential kill there with the Ignite, but just did not bring enough damage to bear.
Over Sachi.
Sachi, yeah, he's not going to like this. This is what you do to a Rise. You just dive him. They use the Mundo with the ultimate to take up the tower. There's the Wild Growth as well to get the lockup, and that's Ocelot running away with the kill. And as a Rise, you kind of just have to expect that. At some point, 3 people are going to dive you on the tower, and his team does need to and is indeed prepared to capitalize on it.
Yeah, he's not going to be too upset about that, really. He's up till now has been getting pretty decent amounts of farm. I'm actually a little curious, though, is Morden going to try and get a return kill? So when he comes back through here, Rise is actually going to have to maybe be a little bit careful. Does actually look like he's not going to try it. But what we've seen a lot of teams do is they kill Rise once by diving him, then the jungler waits around, puts a ward into the lane, and when Rise comes past again, Mundo dives past the tower, they kill him again. And that can really put you a long way back.
Yeah, that can be a huge problem. The Lee Sin did still have his ultimate as well. It would have been a little bit difficult to do against a Rise that has his flash up, but they could have pulled it off. Beautiful Solar Flare locks up both Heilsang and Vardags. Vardags tries to separate himself so the Dark Passage can pull him away. That's not going to happen, though. Vardags goes down, and a nice pick there by Duty.
So, starting to get some kills in the bot lane going, and Gamers 2, they are ahead now, but they've actually had some really close run stuff, and that's not a bad performance from Vardags in general. It's actually trading with JWoww in the top lane, but suspect JWoww is just going to recall after this, and oh dear. Oh.
Round 2.
Have fun!
There is no ultimate left for JWoww, so he has to be very careful, but he's going to be careful enough. Ocelot picks up yet another kill. As they give him the old NASCAR gang. He comes back up in the lane, you make 3 right turns, or 3 left turns, if you're actually doing it NASCAR style, and you kill the Rise again, and it works out pretty nicely.
I don't know how NASCAR works.
It's okay. It's just a bunch of people driving in a circle. Paranoia gets burned up in the top lane, but not enough vision onto JWoww for the Nocturne to pick the kill up. Unleashed Power goes down onto Ocelot. He still has the Wild Growth. Ignite goes down. The Power of Evil really wants to pick this kill up. Flash gets burned by Ocelot to duck back behind the tower, and he'll be able to keep himself safe and preserve the kill the score line here for the side of Gamers 2.
Now, Power of Evil getting chased down by Lee Sin, but having dodged the Q, he actually feels like he might be able to turn it around. Just go for some poke. Right, regardless. Without ult, I wasn't seeing him killing more than there, but he may have actually overcommitted here.
Duty, caught out, locked up by the Flame Chopper. He's going to use the Solar Flare onto Vardags. Vardags taken down so low, going to get pulled back in the other direction as Shachi comes in with a teleport. Not going to be enough to keep him alive. They go down onto Duty. Duty's going to fall down. That's going to be Shachi picking that kill up. And it will be Yuki successfully piecing out and leaving his support to die.
That's okay with him. He's a support. What's he there for anyway? Keeping ye alive. That's what it is. Gamers 2 looks like they're going to be ending up trading towers here. Mundo shoving in the top. Vizisachi and Heilsang shoving in the bottom lane. I have no idea how you're supposed to pronounce many of these names. Forgive me if I butcher them at some point. Is it like Italian as well? Vizisachi? Or is it
I have
something
no
else?
idea.
I have no idea either.
Yeah, CS together is a pretty Eastern European combination of consonants.
That's true.
But,
That's probably more likely.
In either
I don't know
case,
the phonetics of those languages, though.
in either case, he's going to be able to take down that tower for sure. And Verdags is going to show up in top lane in time to keep JWoww from answering back with the tower in the top lane. So a little bit of an advantage coming out there for Unicorns of Love as they take the lead in the turret score. But they're still trailing about 400 gold overall in this game.
Yeah, going to be a bit awkward, though. Vardags can't hold that tower for long against JWoww. He's going to lose it, I think, here, probably. Simply because his wave clear is a little bit weak, I suppose, is what I would say. Minions are doing quite a bit of damage, but may live. Going to live through this one, I think. Just about. Tower is pretty fit for just a light tap, though, to knock it over.
One of the best things about the Mundo into Rise matchup is that your itemization just makes so much sense. You just go first item, Spirit Visage. It's like, okay, bro, continue poking at me. And I want to say that that's kind of why Shachi doesn't really want to be against the Mundo anymore. His damage output is cut down so much by the MR from that and the health regen. And then when you combine that with his passive regen and the ultimate, it's almost impossible for him to really get a significant amount of damage down. So they put Vardags up there instead, who's going to be dealing purely physical damage. And realistically, Mundo is going to have a very tough time stopping an AD carry from farming. Especially an AD carry that has the kind of CC that Jinx has, just being able to throw down a line of Flame Choppers in front of him. The thing that Vardags has to be careful of is that he doesn't fall prey to some of the same plays that were causing issues for Rise. Because again, it's a very immobile AD carry, and if Lee Sin shows up behind her, it's going to die immediately. And actually, as soon as Shachi comes back in to take his place in the top lane again, Morden shows up one more time. Master of Sheepy going to get jumped on here by Duty. Solar Flare goes out as he tries to use the Paranoia to juke away from that one. Will not be able to successfully do so. He does go down to Morden as the tower falls in the top.
Yep, it was, they didn't kill Rise this time, but that does mean they do get a kill anyway in Master Sheepy.
Oh, Ocelot with a beautiful wild growth.
Oh, wow!
Death Rocket comes in from the side and picks the kill up. Trading 1-for-1 in the mid lane in a very comical fashion. But
wow.
Power Evil did burn his flash, but again, he does get the assist. So who really comes out ahead? Who can say? Vardags gets jumped down here by Morden, throws down the Flame Chompers. Zenith Blade not quite in range, but Vardags going to flash away from it to be safe. He's able to get himself away from that one as Gamers 2 take down their second tower of the game.
Yeah, they're starting to build up a head of steam here. This is not a good sign, essentially. Gamers 2 getting the map movements down. Here's Hylasang, though.
Hylasang catches JWoww out, going to flay him away from the walls of the box. JWoww's just going to flash over the wall. Peace out, Thresh. And he manages to keep himself alive.
Yeah.
Pink shirt, blue skin, and all.
Summoners. Not bad. Like, it's not a bad trade, the box for the flash and a couple of other things. But, yeah, so Games 2 is starting to build up ahead of steam, as I mentioned. And here comes Hylasang again, this time on the receiving end. Actually, Morden possibly could have chased that up, but didn't take account of Ocelot's wild growth, I think.
Well, and didn't want to run the risk of, like, flash kicking him back out or anything like that, just for the support with Dragon up. He knows right now the priority is keeping his HP up so that he'll be around to provide a smite for his team. So that's a good heads-up play from him, recognizing the timing of that one. And it looks like they will have the damage output to take this one down without any contest here from the side of Unicorns of Love. Yeah, he just goes with Death Sentence Steel, and it's only going to end up being his death that he prophesies on this one. Duty just chasing it down. Right click comes out as Yuki burns the flash. So not necessarily the best, but in either case, they pick up the dragon and they get a kill on the support.
Not a bad trade by any standards here, and it looks like Gamers 2 know that Master Sheepy is in the top lane. If they know that, and of course then, they've got a very tanky Leona.
There is the Leona coming in from the side, getting all the damage down to Power of Evil. He's going to fall down, uses the Unleash power on Leona as well. Will not be able to get anything done for that one. And Gamers 2, they are dominating control of this mid game. Duty running away from Master of Sheepy, flashes himself over the wall. Will be able to do so. Can Gamers 2 take down this tower in time? Looks like it won't be on this wave.
Maybe. Oh, Yuki's tanking it. That's not going to help. They can't. Yeah, they can't really defend it here. So Master Sheepy still pretty much impotent, but he is getting towards his Feral Flare now. He spent so much time farming that he is going to get that at a pretty early stage of the game. But I feel like they've lost too much ground to really make it worth it right now. His one Paranoia that I've seen that did any... Actually, wait, no. He's used 2 Paranoias, and both of them have been useless so far. That is really not a good situation to find yourself in. JWoww can fight this 2-on-1.
Yeah, I was saying just barely missing the death sentence. JWoww is just going to run all over Master of Sheepy. The one thing they did to kind of even out Feral Flare's power spike, or power curve, Master of Sheepy, going to get the Unspeakable Horror down, gets the fear. They're going to pull Shachi in with an extremely long-range Dark Passage. JWoww going to get locked up by the Flame Chompers in addition to the Rim Prison. So they're going to take him down, but it's taking 4 people and a lot of time to make this one happen. Gamers 2 looks like the only response they'll really get is stealing away the red buff, which is not huge, but it is something at least. So at least they're not trading Mundo's life for nothing.
Yeah, now can they set up a siege here, or will they get killed? No. Power of Evil there. I question the positioning. Maybe it would have been better to be there to fight.
Here he comes in with the Paranoia, trying to start this one back up. The side of Gamers 2 just running away, trying to kite as hard as they can. Will successfully get the disengage from this one. The death sentence goes down onto Dude. Extremely tanky with the Leona. It seems he only plays hyper tanks out of the support role with both Braum and now Leona in this one. It just tanks up a ton of damage and is no worse to wear for it at the end of the day. Unicorns of Love grouped up in the mid lane, looking to try to make some push happen here. But Shachi did use his teleport as well, so Gamers 2 will have the summoner spell advantage on that count for the next couple of minutes.
Dude's a pretty multi-talented support. Like, we've only seen him playing these tanks, but he'll play whatever the team needs him to and do a pretty good job of it. So right now, Leona is the call. Power of Evil. Maybe about to find someone or be found, but I think either side has kill potential on the other here. Maybe.
Dude, gonna get caught up again. There's the Ignite going down as well. They are going to commit for the support kill this time, and they do take him down. The Power of Evil gonna claim that kill up and then move over to grab up the blue buff for his Syndra.
Yeah, that's not a bad thing to be getting either. So that was a little bit strange by Dude. For all that I was just praising him, he's usually fairly solid, and it's actually Hylasang, if anyone, that tends to be the one getting caught out in these matchups. But that time, obviously, not the wisest decision, not the best place to be. And now it does look like Gamers 2 are going to have to spend a little bit of time getting themselves formed up again, because up until now, they kind of lost that momentum there. They've lost a couple of kills in a row. They're not going to be doing quite as much with the next few minutes. They need to get their vision control, and they need to start creating the engages themselves, rather than just waiting for someone to walk in and get picked.
All right, so the Pharaoh Flare does finally convert for Master of Sheepy. One thing I wanted to point out, that one of the things they did to try to kind of level out Pharaoh Flare's power curve was they made it so that you will get Pharaoh Flare stacks off of kills and assists in the early game, but there were none of those to be found for Master of Sheepy. It took him almost 20 minutes to find his first assist. So this is not worked out all that well for him, but he will start getting a little bit of additional damage. Of course, the healing no longer stacks with your Pharaoh Flare stacks, so not quite as strong as it was before. And that's why you see he's had to resort to a little bit more tankiness in his early build going in with that Giant's Belt. We'll see if he's able to make a whole lot happen here for his team, because right now, Gamers 2 playing on the aggressive, up 4,000 gold, up 2 towers, and really looking to just squeeze out the map right now.
Yeah, the thing about the kills and assists feeding your Feral Flare is that even if you get a successful gank and get a kill, you would still get more stacks just by farming the jungle, because it's much quicker to clear a camp than it is to kill someone, walk back from the lane, and then get back to your jungle. So yeah, it's little more than a cosmetic change on that front, unless you get really fed and just start killing everyone all over the map. But now Hylasang could be in trouble here, getting him down under the tower.
Taking a lot of damage from that when they burn the culling as well, but their priority right now is taking down the tower. That's why you see they don't try to go in, they don't try to dive for crazy kills onto the enemy support when their priority is taking away the objective. And Gamers 2, you know, showing their discipline, will be able to claim that tower. No contest coming out at all from Unicorns of Love.
Can't afford to drop too many towers. This is Gamers 2 getting that momentum back again. They've reformed. They're in a group once more. Not getting picked off one by one. Right now, Rise has still yet to really show his face. It's pretty much what you expect from a composition like this. You see it spend a lot of time farming and not a lot of time doing things. But if Gamers 2 can get even one good engage right now on this mid tower, they are going to build up so much momentum that the game could go completely against Unicorns of Love from that moment onwards. As it is, looks like they're more interested in setting up the track.
Again, they're continuing the objective-based gameplay, taking the slow advantages, taking the high percentage plays, going for towers, going for dragons, avoiding any risky situation where Power of Evil could, you know, drop down a DFG and nuke down someone with his Void Staff and his ultimate. A lot of damage coming out from this center early on. I don't think it's enough to punch a hole in Mundo just yet. He's short the raw ability power numbers to actually be able to take down a hyper tank like that. But pretty much anybody else on this team, including, well, maybe not the Lulu either if she ults herself. But it's the pressure that Power of Evil is trying to put down that will kind of keep his team in this one. Master of Sheepy tries to go really aggressive on that dragon. He's going to have to take a Dark Passage back out. And Gamers 2 going to say, hey, thanks for starting this off for us. They're just going to take complete control, and Unicorns of Love going to concede this over to the side of Gamers 2. Gold lead continuing to grow, 6,000 now in favor of Gamers 2.
Seems like Unicorns of Love's plan is just to turtle this out for a long, long time. It was a relatively low risk play there from Master Sheepy, because unless he got somehow ambushed by multiple hard crowd control things from a very long range, he was always going to be able to lantern his way out. But there was a pretty low chance the Gamers 2 weren't going to turn up at some point and steal away his work. Still, nothing to be lost by trying. Now it seems like Gamers 2 are recalling, setting up once again. Got to remember though, safe Baron takes when you've got a Mundo, so they're going to have to... Unicorns of Love can't just turtle. They also have to keep at least some level of presence on the map.
And that's what Gamers 2 are trying to deny right now. We're seeing the pink wards are coming out. In the last game, when they had Elise in, there was one point where they just swapped to 5 sweeping lenses because they had 2 sight stones. They had the sight stone from Dude and they had the sight stone from Warden as well. And this game is going to be a similar situation. So don't be too surprised if they go 5 sweeping lenses again on this one. Master Sheepy now, potentially getting caught out. Ocelot going to do a little bit of damage. Throws on the help picks, waits out the spell shield and hits him with the glitter lance. And that takes down almost half of Master of Sheepy's HP. So not having too much fun on that one. As again, it's all about the vision control right now. They've swept away just about all of the wards, and we'll be able to take away this blue buff.
Yeah, it's going to drop. They're going to have to sacrifice it. I don't really see fighting with a half-health Nocturne being a particularly good idea. And now comes the siege. There are shields. There is some decent tankiness on Ocelot, actually. But
oh, just very nicely put by JWoww to step into the range of that one, to get in front of that, do what the tank does. Down goes Heil, saying Power of Evil is going to be the next to fall down. So much damage coming out. They will get the return kill. Vardax is able to take down JWoww at the end of it. But nonetheless, it's a 2-for-1 trade in favor of Gamers 2.
Oh, God.
Dude is able to get the Flash Zenith Blade down. They continue to stop Master of Sheepy's base. He will fall down. This is the second time he's tried to base. Flash comes out. Morden going to kick Vardax to the side as he goes for the Flash as well to avoid getting kicked into the team. Now Ocelot and Morden find themselves all alone, and Ocelot, now he's going to be the lone source up here on the other side of the wall. He's going to be able to throw down the help picks and get himself out of this one. So Gamers 2 drop their top laner. They take down 3 members of Unicorns of Love, and they back away.
Going to return to the tower, though, and I don't really foresee this staying up for long. Yuki's got a lot of damage for this tower, and it'll be taken down pretty quick. Got to be careful not to overstay too much, though.
Yeah, Ocelot's going to go down for sure. There's the Summoner Heal actually gets burned by him after he was already locked up on the Flame Chomper, so not a lot of help. Maybe he thought he was still running the cleanse from the last game. And Morden can be able to drop the ward and safeguard himself back out over this one. So it ends up going 3 for 2 in favor of Gamers 2, as they give, some kills back over to the side of Unicorns of Love. And Unicorns of Love, they're just trying to scrap this one back out, pick up as many of those kills as they can, and get themselves right back in this game.
Yeah, they lost a lot of health on that tower, but so long as it doesn't actually drop, they won't find that to be too big of a problem for themselves. We also have the Void Staff now picked up by Rise, so his fight against Mundo in the bottom lane, if he is forced to go there to stop the split push, may well be a lot more even now, since he's going to penetrate a lot of that magic resist. Power of Evil may take the mid tower as well, so coming up rosy in the last couple of minutes for Power of Evil and his team.
Master of Sheepy trying to dive in onto Yuki. Yuki going to try to get himself away from this one. Gets locked up by the fear. There's the Super Mega Death Rocket. Big kill going down from Vardax. JWoww comes back in with the teleport. In onto Heil, saying, can he take this one back down? His ultimate is burning. There comes Morden from the side. They've got Dude as well. They only want to take down Vardax. They're leaving JWoww to chase down the support. Vardax going to go down. Shashi comes back in. He's going to get a big burst of damage down. He's able to take down Morden as well. Now finds himself in the 2v1 against JWoww and Dude. The tanky members here from the side of Gamers 2. Can they be tanky enough? There's the W coming back out from Dude. He turns around, kills a couple of minions to get the Relic Shield charges, and going to give a little bit of extra HP over to JWoww. That's the third one going down. And JWoww will be able to walk down, take that kill. Those charges actually kept JWoww alive. Are you kidding me right now?
That was very, very clever by Dude. Good presence of mind to do that. We do actually see Nocturne moving up here. He could kill JWoww on that amount of health, but looks like he's not going to be able to do that, so a little bit of an overstay, basically, there. Unicorns of Love, getting the kill was definitely worth it on Yuki, and trading Hylasang for that would have been fine. As it was, though, they just thought, well, maybe we can stick this out. Maybe we can save Hylasang's life. No, run away at that point. And if they had done so, they probably would have traded 1 for 1. As it is, though, still not a bad sequence of events. The gold gap has decreased, and of course, the later on the game goes, the gold gap decreases just proportionally on its own, so Gamers 2 a little bit further behind than they were, still in a very dominant position.
The thing is, JWoww, he still has a lot of items left to pick up. Like doesn't have the Random's Omen done yet. He's got another Spectre's Cowl, so he's going to be going for the Banshee's Veil at some point. And he'll have the additional tankiness of having a Lulu on the team if she chooses to use her spells on him. So JWoww is, he's about another maybe 10 to 15 minutes away from becoming an absolutely unkillable monster. Even if Jinx and Rise are both trying to focus him down, it's not going to be enough. Once it's like Randuin's Thornmail plus Lulu with the help picks and the ultimate from the Wild Growth, you can't take down a Mundo like that. So if he's able to keep himself in the front along with Dude, that's such a tanky front line. It's almost impossible to actually get to the back line and keep Yuki from just bursting everybody down.
You basically have to wait out the Mundo ult when it gets like that. You have to play the defense game and keep yourself away, so looks like we're going to be seeing a bit of a tussle over Baron now. Ocelot has already got this bot wave pushing, though. That will form a slow push wave, actually, as well. If it sticks around for too long, we'll see. It could be a problem in the long run for Unicorns of Love. They also don't want to risk being engaged in open field, because then they can't kite Mundo as well.
JWoww. Come back in on a Heil saying Shashi is going to be caught out as well. They go in onto JWoww.
Out of position.
They've got everyone up there onto him, but so much damage down to Power of Evil. The culling Plus, the use lockup
yeah.
going to be enough. They use the paranoia, but he can't go in on that one. Just trying to create a little bit of darkness. Very nice. Here. That's a nice knockup.
Triple dare.
And that's just everyone going down for the side of Unicorns of Love. Double kill goes down for Yuki. Flash comes out from Hyle saying he's the only surviving member of Unicorns of Love, and Gamers 2 are determined to end that. Ardent Blaze comes out from Yuki. He picks up the triple kill as they get the ace. They lose no one, and Gamers 2 pushing into the base.
Oh dear, that is going to be the turtle shell crack, basically. Unicorns of Love, who were trying to hold on to the game for a long time now, just completely lost their grip there. They've lost the in here, they'll lose the Baron. The gap in the gold has now increased to an insurmountable level. JWoww will be, as you said, utterly unkillable next time they fight, and he was already pretty much beyond the pale in that respect. So now, Unicorns of Love are staring a 2-0 in the face.
Yeah, JWoww is, I mean, a Baron and selling his Doran Shield away from having the random its Omen done. And once that happens, if even Jinx or Nocturne aren't able to put down the damage output that you kind of need from them, it all comes down to Ryze being able to burst out the Mundo, and he has not been having any success with that at all. There's simply too much HP, almost 4,000 HP now on the Mundo. It's so hard to take him down as he's got that red elixir burning as well. So Gamers 2 in a great position for this one. The knockup was beautiful from Ocelot. They got Mordin in the middle of the enemy team, and then they just knocked everybody up all at once. And the team fight control from Gamers 2 is just too good. Unicorns of Love, they consistently do well in the laning phase, but once they break the laning phase, Gamers 2, they just keep finding the opportunities.
Yeah, so now it looks like Ocelot is going to be the target. They may be able to get a pick here.
Gonna try to go in on Ocelot. He flashed himself away. Gonna get caught out by the zap despite trying to juke. Power of Evil gonna pick that kill up with the Scout of the Week. So they do get a little bit back. Unicorns of Love still in this one.
Yeah, I mean, it slows down the aggression from Gamers 2, which is probably the biggest factor here, because it means that they have a little bit of time to get their in-hib back up here for Unicorns of Love, but they don't have the means to capitalize off this. It's just that. They slow down the aggression because they're going to wait for Gamers 2's Ocelot to respawn now, and then the insurmountable team fight will still walk into their base when they get him back. So they're still going to have to overcome the insurmountable team fight. They're just going to have to overcome it a little bit later with a little bit more farm. And an Archangel staff on Ryze, which is, a nice little power spike, which he wouldn't have had if they hadn't gotten that kill.
I'm going to try to check it out here and see how far that is. Oh, it's already the Seraph's Embrace now. So he's going to have the big shield as well. It's not just a spike in damage from finishing the ability power and getting it all the way capped up, but it's a big spike in survivability, which in this phase of the game is kind of the name of what he's going for here. He's a frozen heart away from being able to not die instantly to Yuki, but he's actually prioritizing more of the magic resistance against this lineup here. So going to be looking to cut down some more of the damage output from Ocelot and the little bits of damage that you get from JWoww and Dude on the magic damage side of things.
I'm not sure where I stand on the magic resist right here. Obviously Ryze is served by staying alive for longer, but
sure,
it's just like, will he have enough damage to burst through Mundo built like this?
All right, so not a thing that you see very often, but Thresh is actually capable of pulling people through walls if he gets a death sentence when you're right up on the wall, but it has to be one of the thinner walls. The thick walls of the base do not permit that kind of passage. So Hyle's saying, I think he tried to pull that off on a Mordin there, and either was just trying to lock him up for as long as possible, or maybe wasn't aware that you can't pull him through that wall. In either case, Gamers 2, they've got the siege going on here. They've got the inhibitor down in the top lane, so they can pull Shachi away whenever they need to. And this is going to be a very tough inhibitor tower to defend for the side of Unicorns of Love.
They more or less have to, though. If they do not defend this, they are just going to lose any hope of stopping the push coming in from their opponents, because then how are they going to defend the mid tower if they've got to split up even more? Siege is coming in from Gamers 2, though, and that kind of forces it onto Unicorns of Love. Do they look for the engage here? If they do, they're almost bound to lose.
And so Gamers 2, they're just continuing the siege. They've got the Baron buff. They've got JWoww still pushing up in the top lane. He's controlling Shachi pretty well, and then takes a bunch of damage, and Shachi just goes back to the base and comes back with Home Guard. So that isn't working out as well for them. Oh, they get the catch down onto Yuki. They use everything they can to try to keep him alive, but it's not enough. 2 summoner heals and everything Lulu has cannot keep him alive to the full burst of Power of Evil with the DFG in the mix. And that's what Syndra does for teams.
Yeah, and that also means that this top inhib gets to respawn and gets to live for a while. So Now the push is coming in. They will get the inner tower. That's a cheeky little take there by Gamers 2, but they've still broken the siege for now. JWoww, he knows he's indestructible.
Like,
he's just gonna pull.
You've got to ask the question, why doesn't Dude have a Mikhail's Crucible against the champion with an 1100 range stun when it's all about protecting Yuki? I mean, Yuki is so much damage right now. He looks at the relatively low armor totals on the side of Unicorns of Love and skipped the last Whisper and went straight in for the Infinity Edge. So his 3 items right now are Infinity Edge, Trinity Force, and Bloodthirster. He will kill anyone if he's in the fight, if he's allowed to right-click them for even 2 seconds. And not having the Mikhails to get him out of that Syndra stun before the DFG, before all the burst damage came down, you have to wonder, where is that item? Why is that not out yet?
Yeah, because they may feel they've already got enough like saving power just from the fact they've got a Lulu here with so much AP and so much healing and etc etc. But that when you get healing powers that can be just instantly cast on someone who's in trouble, that always gets stronger the more you stack them.
There's the Solar Flare going back down to try to go for the engagement. Power of Evil just going to pull the blue buff as far away as he can. Does take it down, but he uses all of his spells on that one, so he can't turn back around. Master of Sheepy goes down. Wild Growth going to get the knock up there. They use that on him more than one more time. Shashi.
Lose 2 here, they lose.
Jump back over. There's a big kick. That's 2 going down. They lose the jungler and the top laner. Hyosang now going to be on the run, and Gamers 2 looking to push into the base on this one, see what damage they can get down. Hyosang taken down very low. He's going to be able to get himself away from this one, but the inhibitor going to go down up in the top lane, and where will Gamers 2 move to next?
Well, looks like they're going to be going for all 3 inhibs here. They've got shields, they've got JWoww's tankiness. Just look, he's not even taking damage, and he's got so much health that he wouldn't need to be shielded anyway. So here goes the second inhib. Will they be able to hold the third? 2 guys still down, 10 seconds to hold till Nocturne. I don't see it happening. 3 inhibs probably.
JWoww just running over the front, hasn't even popped his ultimate yet, and he's, like you said, he's not taking damage from champions or towers. Combined, they start to put a little bit of hurt on him. Morden is taken down fairly low. He's gonna back himself away. JWoww taken down to almost nothing, flashes away as he sees the Master of Sheepy did not use the ultimate onto him. JWoww gonna be the one to pick that kill up. Solar Flare goes down onto the back line to lock them up. Hyosang gonna be the target. He goes down. Chachi trying to run back into the fight. Can't get to any targets that he wants. He's gonna back himself away. Vardag's able to pick up the kill onto Diu. JWoww locked up by the zap, locked up by the Rune Prison. That stun's not gonna land from the Syndra, and Gamers 2 will be able to run back out. They lose 1, they take down 2, and they drop 2 inhibs.
Actually a slightly less good result than Gamers 2 probably were hoping for, and still breaking the spine of Unicorns of Love. So right now they are going to be in the situation they found themselves in before ×2, because they've got 2 inhibs to deal with. They've got 2 minion waves to stop with 1 guy, probably being Rise, and they are also going to have to contend with having an open inhib to defend rather than one with a tower. So yeah, I've been saying it for a while, but no, this time it's really probably it for Unicorns of Love. They're really up against the wall now.
And with the Baron respawning as well, Gamers 2, they can take their time. They can just control the objectives and move back in for the slow push to end the game. I mean, they're going to open this up right now. Unicorns of Love can't contest this. Despite they do have their Nexus turrets this time around, which they didn't the last time they found themselves in this position in the last game, but it's just not going to be enough. Gamers 2, the last Whisper is now done for Lucian, so he's got his 4 items. The Mundo has completed the Banshee's Veil as well, so Power of Evil, it doesn't even have the hope to try to nuke him down very quickly. And now Power of Evil's going to get caught up by Dude. There's the Solar Flare as well. Dude going to pick the kill up with that one. And that should be the beginning of the end.
You'd really think so. This might be the end of the end. Master Sheepy.
Master Sheepy. He's gone. Yuki picks that up. JWoww chasing down on the Hyosang. Hyosang trying to get away. Ran to his own proc. Flame Chopper's not going to slow him down, and JWoww switches targets onto Vardags. Just going to run into the middle of everyone, and my goodness, the Jinx just pops. Shachi going to get chased down. Surrender Vote comes out from the side of Unicorns of Love, and that's going to be it. Gamers 2 pick up the win on the series, 2-0.
Well, that means we've had 2 series now where basically NIP and Gamers 2 were looking the strongest by a decent margin in both of those matchups. That will mean that SK Prime and their opponents here, Unicorns of Love, who I just said the name of 2 seconds ago, will be playing off against each other. So we'll see how they stack up. But I'm really starting to look forward to the winners final here, because Gamers 2, it's actually the final we had last time as well, isn't it? Gamers 2 versus NIP, formerly RIP.
Yep. They were rest in pepperonis. Now they're ninjas in pepperonis. Oh no, that's something else. All
Now
right,
they're
guys.
pepperonis pajamas.
Pepperoni's pajamas. I like it. So that's going to be the end of our coverage for today. Be sure to come back in tomorrow at 4 p.m. Central European Summertime, I believe that is. 7 p.m. It's gonna that's what it is. Okay, good. I'm glad that I didn't mess that up. We're gonna start off with SK Prime taking on Unicorns of Love, and then the second best of three of the day is going to be that upper bracket final. It's going to be Gamers 2 taking on Ninjas in Pajamas. So same time tomorrow. That's 7 a.m. Pacific Daylight Time, 10 a.m. Eastern Daylight Time for everybody here on the North American side. Spuddington, tell the folks where to find you.
Well, if you feel like following me, if you enjoyed my casting, feel free to follow me on Twitter, twitter.com/Spuddington, which is at Spuddington, is the other way of putting it, and I'm sure you have your own as well.
Yes, you guys can find me on Twitter at Malfusx. That's MALFUSX. And we thank you so much for watching from everybody here at Solomid.net, from our sponsors, Logitech and ProBuilds.net. We thank you for watching, and we'll see you again tomorrow.